Good morning, everyone. We will now begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama to protect and bless us as we participate today in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer, please stand. 高浜原にかむすまります。かむろぎかむろみのみこもちで、すめみおやかむいざなぎのみことつくしのひむかのたち花のほどのあわぎはらにゆきそぎはらいたもうときになりませるはらいどの神たちもろもろのまがごと 罪汚れを払いたまえ、清めたまえと直すことのよしを、天津神、国津神、青よずの神たちともに、雨の口駒の耳振り立てて、聞こしめせと、かしこみもまおす。弥勒大神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、弥勒大神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、教えみよやんしの神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、教えみよや主の神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ。ながらたまちあえませ。ながらたまちあえませ。Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei. Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. Atami, Zuyunkyo. God chose Atami as the site for the prototype of paradise on earth and has assigned the mission of constructing it to me, called the Paradise of Glorious Skies. This place, a man-made creation, joins nature's beauty in perfect balance. The Zuyunkyo gardens in Atami evoke being in a paradise where myriad flowers smile and countless birds sing. Whenever I look at the scenery surrounding the prototype of paradise in Atami, I'm always impressed and enchanted by the beauty and harmony embodied in its trees, foliage, and stately hillside. Atami is probably the most scenic place in Japan, blessed with many great features. Its beautiful view of neighboring mountains and ocean coastline, the mild climate, natural hot springs, and easy accessibility. From all of this, shouldn't it be clear that the creation of the earth was done with extremely long term planning? Probably many millions of years ago, God designed Japan as a scenic park for the world, and in it prepared paradise like places with an ideal climate, topography, and natural beauty. Waiting there until the time was right, they are, of course, Atami, Hakone, and Mount Fuji in particular. God intended Atami to be a most ideal, perfect place. When the advancement of material civilization made the construction of paradise possible, I was born in accord with God's plan. Through a series of events, God guided me to live in Atami and begin the realization of his goal, the construction of the prototype of paradise on earth.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Today, I would like to share two faith experiences with you. First one, beginning the one from Arequipa, Peru. His name is Marcio Ruiz Sanchez. Marcio Ruiz Sanchez has been a Johrei member since April 5, 2016, and he lives in Arequipa, Peru. We got to know our church through a member who also resides in Arequipa, and by a divine blessing, in a delay of a few hours to take a plane to Lima, she told him about Johrei and the teachings of Meishu-sama. On that same trip, he came to the church to receive Johrei and participated in the monthly service according to the invitation he received. From then on, every month, he made an effort to go to receive Johrei and continue participating in the appreciation services. With this, he was feeling a gradual improvement in his vision, counteracting a glaucoma process that caused him to have his visual capacity decreased. To express his gratitude, Marcio received the sacred focal point on Hikari and had the opportunity to go to the sacred grounds in 2016. However, he had difficulty channeling Johrei to others in Arequipa, and even in his family, he found resistance to the channeling of the divine light. 2018, meanwhile, his wife, who is a hired kindergarten teacher, received an offer to allocate a position to work in an area closer to their home. Apparently, it was a great blessing. But she was unaware of all the relationship problems existing between the other teachers and the director of this educational institution. Then, in the first days of work, his wife realized the workplace harassment that each teacher went through, and with her, it was no different. As the school year unfolded, the suffering from the bad employment relationship also increased. Marcel was very sad to see how his wife would return home, tense, worried, unsatisfied, a real suffering every day. She cried many times, asking God why He had given her this situation. Her life was transformed into a torment of going to the police station, the prosecutor's office, the educational department, and even lawyers to protect herself against the harassment she was receiving. Seeing this situation, Marcio prayed asking Meishu-sama for the permission for her to accept to receive Johrei. This because despite seeing his commitment to Meishu-sama, she was not willing to receive the light. Sometimes he even gave her Johrei, even without her consent, when she was asleep. It was out of love and compassion for her suffering. One day, during the Johrei in the middle of the night, she woke up and saw him there with his arm raised. It was the first time that she did not complain or rejected Johrei. This time she just went back to sleep. Marcel felt positive for the permission and continued with the Johrei practice every time he saw her suffering. Gradually, he realized that she no longer rejected the Johrei and sometimes even came closer to him when he was praying. In other words, it was a spirit of permission that her resistance towards the light was already passing. One day then, Marsu saw her more receptive and invited her to receive Johrei sitting down with all the normal procedures. And he explained to her again the strength and blessing of the Johrei practice for her to overcome the work-related conflict she was experiencing. In conjunction to the Johrei channeling, they did the Amatsu-Norito prayer with the sounding of surrendering all negative feelings. In about 10 days of this constant practice, an amazing thing happened. The director who had been creating this hostile environment for 4 years was assigned to an administrative function in the education department of Arequipa. It was a miracle this happened. As a result of his transfer, everything was changed in the kindergarten school. His wife and the other teachers, parents, and children began to build another dynamic, experiencing an atmosphere of love and peace. In his house, Marshall also perceived a much more harmonious atmosphere. As his wife returned to serenity, she was already coming home happy from her work, and obviously, he was happy to see her well. In addition, they incorporated Johrei and prayers as a family habit, and his wife, who previously had resistance, now asks him to give her Johrei. They have talked many times about gratitude, lessons learned, and above all, surrendering to God to better serve in the divine work. This picture of love and light has spread to other relatives who live near them, and Marcio channels Johrei to these relatives as well, since the change in his own family was very noticeable. Additionally, his wife, in this period, she has given the opportunity to take an exam in her area. Another surprise developed because she passed the exam despite not having studied enough due to the emotional problems she was going through. Many things may be required to ensure to a work environment that our work environment is safe, but both are very satisfied an opportunity arose for her to be able to measure her professional knowledge through the exam she took. For his part, Marcio feels great joy to attend services regularly, like was doing before this purification, and now with the support of his family. As a way to materialize this gratitude, they prepared flowers of light to be distributed among the teachers and parents of the nest where all this has happened, in order to awaken new instruments to the divine light. Marcio is very thankful to God and Meishu-sama, along with all his ancestors, for confirming that through Johrei, the spiritual clouds that are the source of conflicts are purified and is the way to advance towards the construction of a better world. Very nice experience from Marcio of Arequipa, Peru. And another experience I'd like to share with you is from Marise Elizardo. She's from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Marise has been a Johrei member for 42 years and currently gives service in the accounting department of her Johrei Center. She is a state government employee and works in a private daycare center that is part of her municipality. In both, her function is as a social worker. In March 2020, the daycare center was closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, she was asked by the management to continue working on a home office basis. In July, the resources of the daycare center were running out due to the decrease in the transfer of funds. As a result, she had a 50% reduction in her salary. At first, she was very worried and equally very confused. That's when she called the daycare director and talked to this director, who confirmed the information and said there was no solution for her case. Despite the affliction, she has never stopped believing that God and Meishu-sama were present in everything and that she was not helpless. She began thinking about what she could do to supplement her income and asked Meishu-sama to show her a way. At the beginning of the pandemic, she began making bread for her own consumption. She often sent it to a friend who lives close to her home, who loved her breads and always praised them a lot. When this friend became acquainted of the situation Marise was going through, she ordered 2 loaves of bread for the following week and insisted on paying for them. Upon receiving the order, she photographed and posted it on her social media. That's when interested people start to appear. Thus, Marise began researching, creating new recipes, and the number of customers had increased. The production of bread became a great income supplement, sometimes exceeding the amount of her own salary. During this period, Marise kept the practice of making donations of gratitude without reducing the amount she used to offer. She also channeled Johrei within her family, read the divine writings of Meishu-sama's teachings, and attended daily online services, an opportunity for her to express gratitude for her purification. In December, she became surprised by a call from a daycare director. She informed Marise that she had found a solution for her case and that the difference the amount owed to her would be included in the last salary of the year. Likewise, this director made a point of showing great recognition for her work. Marise received the amount that had not been paid in the period in which her salary was reduced, which enabled her to materialize a special offering of gratitude as soon as she received the difference due. As she made a clientele with her breads, she continued producing and selling them, which constitutes an extra monthly income for her. With this experience, she learned that even when we don't understand the situations, we must trust that God and Meishu-sama are in charge of everything, because for sure the best will happen. She's immensely grateful for the permission to serve the divine work, as well as for the protection, blessings, and learning gained through these years as a member of our church. So Marise found a solution for her purification, putting our practice of faith at home. And I want to thank you for listening to this faith experience. Wish a very wonderful day, wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion of our morning service. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a blessed day.